Good morning, everybody. 7 minutes past 11 o'clock this Monday morning. This is Monday, December the 4th. An early Christmas present for Mr. Jordan and myself in the form of Graeme Souness coming back to us and back in the fold. And you're going to be with us like two Mondays a month. Would that be right?
I've no idea. I just do as I'm told.
All right. Okay. Well, we're delighted at this news, are we not, Simon? 2 Mondays a month and Martin O'Neill the other two.
Beyond thrilled.
It just says it with such enthusiasm.
You are quite. Is this some kind of role you're playing this morning? You seem quite relaxed about Graeme coming back. I'm shouting it from the rooftops.
Well, I've spent weeks and months campaigning for him to come back.
All right.
So I'm sort of got fatigue for it. And then I have the added benefit of doing another show with him after this show.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
That's
That's
where my enthusiasm...
Well, talkSPORT has got to get their money back somehow, that's for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I'm surprised they have any money to have me back, given that
after you
someone
selling.
Someone in this room and Jeff have signed contracts.
Yes, exactly.
No money left in the pot.
Well, Simon is paid in a Jersey bank account. Graeme, before I go any further, and ears will prick up north of the border, many Rangers fans saying, ask him, is he coming back to the football club in some capacity? What is the latest?
My man Ian up in Scotland is speaking to James Bisgrove all the time. They have had their hands full with a new manager, getting him settled in. I think they've got now a new director of football, is it? So they've had bigger fish to fry than me, but I'm talking to them and I'm, I'm at their service. I'm a Rangers supporter, Jim. You know I am. I'm there to help in any way they feel I can help them.
And what does that look like to you?
Well, just being on the end of a phone, going up to watch games, and if the manager wanted to offer an opinion, and I wouldn't offer it without him asking me, I would be there for him as well.
With experience like he has, Simon, it would make sense to you as a former owner, would it? That you have somebody like Souness in your camp, as Rangers would have, and the Rangers fans know he's one of them anyway. It will do more good than bad, you would think.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Graham's understanding of the game and Graham's perspective on things. It depends what you're trying to do there, and depends where you think Graham's role would be. I mean, Graeme was obviously advocating for Frank Lampard for the job. They went with a different direction.
That's not entirely true.
Well, that's what you said.
No, I didn't say I was advocating for him. I think it was a narrow thing. The only advantage Frank had over the manager who's got the job was he may understand the west of Scotland a wee bit more. And I think Philippe, very, very early on, and I was watching his press conference, understands the demands of that job. And I've said to you many times, it is a unique job. And I have to say the same, it must be the same for Celtic. Working in the west of Scotland is a unique job. And I just felt that someone who had an understanding that wasn't to do with, because if you look at Philippe's CV, it's excellent. Yeah, and I felt that Frank was angry, and hurt. So that, it's a dangerous animal when it's hurt. And I saw Frank as someone who would do a good job as well. Would
Frank have deserved that opportunity, do you think, Graeme?
Well,
in the end, they went to Philippe Clement.
Jim, whether they deserved it or not, this was a guy who's got as much money as he'll ever need. A guy who's been punched on the nose big time by his experience of managing down here. He had a point to prove. Frank doesn't need it, but they went for Philippe because of his CV, the way he interviewed, the way he put himself across, came across in that interview was excellent. He's got presence. When I hear managers speak, I always put myself back in the dressing room as a player, thinking, would he be holding me? Would he be holding my interest? Philippe certainly does that.
I mean, when you look at the state of Rangers and Celtic at the moment, Rangers struggling last week against Limassol. Some distance between them and Celtic. And Celtic, his own players, Brendan Rodgers was laying into the players for the first half performance in Perth at the weekend.
There's not a big difference
between
between
them. Where they should be.
They're not a big difference. I come back to it. How unfair is the world of football treated Scottish football? When you think of Bournemouth, where I live, little old Bournemouth, 11,000 people, not really a football town, get 90 million quid from TV. Glasgow Rangers get 3 million.
Why is that?
Which is a mad football city.
Why is that an inherent unfairness?
Well, that's because
you've got a league that's worthless.
It's the way it's evolved. It's the way
you've got a league that's worthless to broadcasters.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. We have a population of less than 5 million, 65 million people here in England.
But you've still got clubs like Celtic and Rangers that are doing £80 million turnovers.
And can you imagine if they were in the Premier League?
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand that argument. Going back to the original observations about Lampard, it cannot be that just because he's got some enthusiasm that he gets a job because he's got lots of money. That's like suggesting that Warren Buffett doesn't get up in the morning anymore because he's a billionaire.
You have some expertise in sacking managers.
And hiring them.
Yes. So how many did you... Just remind me again, because it's been a long time since
I stealthily managed to avoid you, didn't I?
Yeah.
But the point...
You missed the bullet there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. No, I think that going back to your original question, depends what Graeme Souness should get. Depends what advice he gives. Depends if he's going to spend his whole time dwelling in the 1980s. If he's going to spend his time looking at the current situation and evolving what's on offer rather than the reality of what went before, then a Souness in that focus would be an addition of value to anybody. And I would listen to him. And I wanted him to come and join us at Palace in 2006. So we throw that around in a laughing fashion. I think most of the things that comes out of Graham's mouth, besides some hobby horses and flights of fancy he goes on, is common sense and solid. So you'd think you'd be silly not to take his advice. I like this guy Clement. I think he's got the chops for it. Yeah. And I don't think there's that much. The gap between Rangers and Celtic isn't as big as potentially it's been made to look like it is.
But neither of them are anywhere near where they should be, Graeme. The Rangers of today is nothing like the Rangers you had.
And that's
with Butcher.
That's budget,
with Wilkins, with Haitley.
It is a very, very different job today. And, you just have to get on with what you can afford. And I think right now, you look at the results in Europe. Look at Celtic's results in the Champions League when they're playing the other best teams in Europe. It's not good, but that's where we are in Scottish football right now, with the budgets we have to work with. That's what supporters have to put up with.
Teams like Celtic should be competing against teams like Feyenoord and doing what Feyenoord... Because the argument I was making last week was I understand why they don't potentially compete with Napoli, and I understand why they don't compete with the other sides that were top of their Champions League. But then I look at the relationship with the financial landscape of Scottish football against Feyenoord, and I say, well, you should be able to get as many points as Feyenoord get out of a group stage to get yourself into at least the Europa competition, rather than go out of the Champions League with nothing and a wooden spoon.
It's a fair point, isn't it?
I agree with that.
Yeah. So you're waiting for the phone to ring, and you would answer in a positive fashion.
I'm not waiting for the phone to ring, but I'm waiting to hear from them. But I'm not sitting and looking at my phone every 5 minutes, Jim.
No.
I've got other things like, I'm now back in this fold. I'm now have to tolerate you two for 3 hours on a Monday morning.
That's fine. It was just that in the first hour you were looking at your phone quite a lot. And I was just wondering.
No, why? Because I saved my screenshot.
Yeah,
I've got a new screenshot of my young. Look, now why wouldn't you look at that? I've got my young wife on the front of my.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Well, now we know. Graeme, thank you for that. When you get the call from Rangers, give us a shout. Certainly before 1. It's 11:15.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.